Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to the Better Man podcast. Today's episode is a member interview with David M. from Tennessee. In this episode, we're going to talk about David's health journey starting way back in 2016. He ended up losing about 50 pounds, but he still had a lot of pain in his body. And then just a few months ago, he started doing manful yoga. He had kind of plateaued on his fitness, was having a lot of pain, difficulty moving. He's also a late father in life. So he had a daughter in his mid 40s, and he knew he needed to make some changes if he wanted to be able to play with her, to be there for her. And frankly, as he says in this podcast, to be able to make it to her wedding. So I think this is a really inspirational episode. David is doing a lot of the right things, creating the right environment to allow himself to be successful with his weight loss and with his fitness. He's been relying on community at work. He's got a great supportive environment at home, and also with his newfound manful yoga community. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I think there are a lot of great things that you can get out of this and a lot of inspiration to implement into your own health journey. I hope this episode inspires you to be a better man. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome back to the Better Man podcast. Today is a member interview. I've got David M here to talk about his story. David, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Happy to do it.
Yeah. So I love having these conversations because I get to understand, and the people listening get to understand what was your health journey, what inspired you to be more proactive with your health. And one question I thought I'd ask today that I haven't done with the other interviews, so I'm throwing you a curveball here for your first question. If you just introduce yourself, take a minute to introduce yourself, what would you say about yourself?
Huh. Um, well, I think, you could talk like I could go on my hobbies. I love to cook. I'm a barbecue chef for a team here in Memphis. We don't win
Cool.
very much, but there's stuff like that. But really, I'm Mary Margaret's dad, and
Okay.
that's where life really revolves around. Is I have an 8-year-old, well, 7.5, almost 8-year-old daughter that
Mhm.
pretty much rules the roost around here, and
Yes.
you know, trying
Kids
to
are
make.
tyrants.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
One day I'm going to stand up to my child, but not today.
Yeah. Today is not that day.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that's your big inspiration. So what for you kind of was your oh shit moment where you realized, okay, I've got to make a change here.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back a few years. So in like the 2016, 17, 19 through 19, I had a lot of anxiety issues.
Mm,
And like almost debilitating to a point. And I started getting through those with help of therapy and actually working out a lot, but it wasn't like heavy working out. It was walking.
mhm.
Um, but at the time is when we had our daughter, and I ended up like ballooning up to about 350 pounds. Of course, somebody just came to my door.
Of course.
I'm sorry about that.
That's
Um,
okay.
but
You
I'm just
ballooned
gonna.
up to what was your weight?
I ballooned up to 350 pounds.
Okay.
So
And how tall
I
are you?
yeah, 6'1".
6'1". Okay.
So like in high school, I was like 190. So
Got it.
I got pretty big, and there was a lot of a lot of eating. I love to eat a lot of food, but also a lot of
Mhm.
drinking. And from Wisconsin, it was a pretty heavy drinking culture. And
As someone who went to school in Wisconsin and has family in Wisconsin, there's when it's cold, there's not much to do, So you
that's
sit
true.
inside and you drink. And for some reason, like it's really easy to get carbs, but meat and vegetables are just nowhere to be found. It's all just cheese and carbs.
It's cheese and carbs. That's right. Lots of pizza. I mean, there is bratwurst, but besides that,
Yes.
you got which is probably not your healthiest meat either. But yeah, so you know, it got pretty bad. I was used to that culture of eating whatever I wanted, drinking whatever I wanted, no matter how much I tried to diet and issues. It just didn't really work.
Hmm.
Um, and then so towards the end of 2019 is when I hit 350 pounds, and and with that, of course, is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I had now a 2-year-old baby at 2019. I couldn't bend over to pick up her toys without being out of breath. I
Mm.
also had lots of like muscle issues. The worst were my ankles. I had Achilles tendonitis, but I had shots in my I've had shots in my knees. I've had shots in my shoulders. I've had lots of cortisone shots or other things to try to help. And then in 2019, I listened to the podcast for something or other, and I heard an ad for another yoga group at the time. And but basically, I'm like, well, I could try that. There were some success stories, and then I also started doing keto.
Okay.
And so I was walking, doing a little bit of this other group, and started doing keto, and I lost a good amount of weight with that. Probably got down to about 300,
Okay.
and then added in, and I kind of plateaued, and then I added in intermittent fasting, which I still do on and off today. And I got down to about 275, but then went back up to 280, and it just started ballooning there. So like 2022, not ballooning, just kind of plateauing. I would go down to
Yeah.
275, I would go up to 285, and it started, mid last year, creeping back up to 300.
Yeah.
And I'll admit it, I got on Zepbound, which is one of those GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Um, and that helped. It didn't really help me lose, though. It just helped me stop gaining.
Okay.
In the beginning of this year or end of last year, I'm at the point where I'm walking most days, and I am doing some lifting at the gym. We joined a gym because of I hadn't been doing yoga for a while, but we joined a
Hmm.
gym because I had a pool, and the pool in the summer my daughter could swim at, and so I was going there lifting a couple days a week, but mostly walking. But I hurt. I would
Mm.
get up out of a chair, and I would take, and this is just December, and I
Okay.
couldn't move. Like it'd take me about 10, 15 steps until I'd walk the tightness and pain in my hips out. I also
Yeah.
have lower back issues. I stand a lot in my job, like we're at exhibit booths and we'll stand all day, or we're in medical device sales, or
Yeah.
marketing, and I'll be in surgeries and standing all day in surgeries, and my lower back within 5 minutes would just tighten up and get
Mm.
really, really sore. And that's when I saw the ad on Facebook for absolute beginners,
Okay.
like $27, I think it was,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I'd actually tried you guys out before, something I saw on YouTube, and this is, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago, and it was a really
Okay.
hard routine because it was just a random one. So
Got it.
I was a little scared off by that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do the ones for whichever one I found on there. I think I probably looked up men's yoga, but it didn't give me like
Yeah.
whatever popped up was a hard one.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, absolute beginners. I've done yoga in the past. I'll do it again, and it was great. And I did that, and then I got into the beginners fundamentals, I think it was called, or beginner. No, that's a new one. The next one after absolute beginners,
Okay.
foundations maybe.
Oh, strength foundations. Okay. You jumped a notch. Yeah.
No, it was a beginner's one. It wasn't the
Beginners
strength
one.
foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. You had
So
like,
absolute beginners, beginners fundamentals, and then there's like there's
so it was
90.
beginners fundamentals, I think.
Okay, beginners fundamentals. Yeah.
And so I did that for 2 weeks, and that all felt really good. And now I'm about 2 months in, and the hip pain. I mean, I still have like a little bit because I think I have a torn labrum, but outside of that,
Okay.
standing up and how I was talking about, I was sore for like 10 steps and all that totally gone away. I can stand at a booth, exhibit booth, that went away. I can much longer now. I mean, it does get tight when you're at a booth for like seven
Oh yeah.
hours, but for the
I
most part,
I would get tight standing at a booth for 3 hours, 2 hours. I would probably just start. I'm that weird guy who does yoga like just wherever though.
at the
So
booth. Well, I've started, yeah, you start seeing me do weird, like trying to get, because that, the one reclined twist, I mean, that
Yeah.
thing's a lifesaver. I love that thing. If I could do that in the middle of the exhibit booth, that'd be great. But I'll go up to my
Well,
hotel room and do it.
you can do a stand. Put one foot on a chair, like do like a
Okay.
Captain Morgan thing. Put one foot on a chair in front of you, and then bring your elbow or bring your hand across your body, and then put your hand on the opposing knee, and then reach your other arm back. So it's like you're
Okay.
doing it's like you're doing that reclined twist, but you're standing to do it. Here, I'll do it. So if you have the video version, you'll be able to see what I'm doing. But
Okay.
do this.
I do. So I can see that. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can do that when you're at the booth. And it might be a conversation starter for people. You're like, that looks like it feels good. And you're like, yes, let me tell you about your shoulders.
Perfect.
Totally
So
unrelated segue.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that helped, and now I just completed the breast series. I'll say like
Okay.
the end of the fourth round of the breast series, I did start the core necessities. So I was kind of doing two a days for
Cool.
a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Um, but yeah, and I'm still walking. I mean, one of the things with walking, and actually the other thing that I did in January, so I started working with you guys, and I've like cut out my drinking. Like I was drinking most nights,
Okay.
and I'm in and bourbon, not just a beer or two. It was bourbon. It
Yeah.
wasn't like 10 glasses, a bottle of it or anything, but it was drinking every night. And
Yeah.
um, so since January, I am now down to 246 pounds this morning.
Wow.
So since my,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. So
That's
over
40
100
pounds in
since,
3 months. That's
yeah,
that's odd. And after plateauing for like as long as you were, that's were you drinking still in like through 2019?
yeah, I mean,
You were.
I was drinking pretty, and again, I'm not like binge drinking every night or anything, but it was drinking most nights, having a drink or two or three.
Yeah.
Um, and then now I'm most, it was on the weekends and social occasions, I'll have a drink, but I'm
Yeah.
not, I mean, we don't have bourbon in the house, and which helped a
Mhm.
lot. And I found
Yeah.
like alternatives, like there's these adaptogen carbonated drinks that I'll have at night. Recess, I
Okay.
think, is one of them. Not to,
Oh yeah, recess.
I'm not
I've
sponsored or anything, but
I've seen that.
but
Yeah, you know
or
what? I
or
mean, there is something about just like hearing a can open and that
yeah,
sound, and you're like, relaxing, right? And then you just have a sip, and it's carbonated, so it reminds you of like. So I can sympathize with that. Like that's like my kind of beer is just sitting down, opening a can, and that's like, okay, I'm cool.
and that's exactly it. I just needed sort of a replacement, and so I found some of
Hmm.
these non-alcoholic things. I also drink some of the those tablets you put in water, the hydration sports tablets.
Yeah.
I think it's a Zim is the one I use, but there's like
Okay.
Noon or some other ones and
Yeah.
stuff,
Noon's a.
or or Element or whatever. But anyway, there
Mhm.
are a lot of different ones that I just flavored drinks. I tried to find ones that don't have a lot of sugar, because there are some non-alcoholic like cocktail stuff you can get that just have more sugar than Coca-Cola. So you got to be careful there.
Right.
But yeah, and I still intermittent fast a lot
Hmm.
during the week. Like tonight, well, it's Friday. It's pizza night. I'm gonna have carbs. I'm gonna have cheese. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Well, you'd be
But
kicked out of Wisconsin if you didn't. So,
yeah, well, I'm in Memphis now, so
Oh,
now
you're
it's
in Memphis.
barbecue. But yeah, I
So
moved from.
they kicked you out after
They did kick me
after
out.
you started
Yeah.
losing too much. Now I feel like I'm shit talking Wisconsin. I'm sorry, Wisconsin. I'm part of you. I apologize.
I'll just say go Packers, and then everything's good again.
Go
But
Pack, go. Oh
yeah.
yeah, you betcha.
Oh, you got it down. Yeah.
I my whole mom's side of the family, they own a grocery store in Door County, if you know where
Oh,
Door.
okay.
Yeah, so they bleed, yellow and green and red,
Yeah.
depending
For the
on which game they're
Badgers.
watching. Badgers.
Yeah.
I went to Wisconsin in Madison. Um,
Very
so yeah,
nice. I went to
we're all.
Iowa, so I was a traitor already.
Oh wow, man, just trying to find your place in the world. It sounds like
But
you're in Tennessee now.
I've been all over the place, but yeah, I've been in Tennessee for like 20 years now. So,
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
but I'm 51, so it's
Hmm.
or I'm 51 with a 7-year old, so it,
Hmm.
it it's hard. I need to do the yoga in order to be able to move and keep up with her, and she's
Yeah.
doing basketball and soccer, and now she's doing softball, which will be interesting. But yeah,
Hmm.
so
Yeah. So
yeah, just
you've got your why, you know.
that is my why. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. And I want to come back to that too. Um I want to go back to, you were talking about how you were struggling with, you couldn't pick up her toys without being out of breath, and you were getting all these
right.
cortisone shots. Where was there a specific moment where you said, "Okay, this is it. I am changing," and or was it like, how did that happen?
Well, I had been, I tried lots of different things, and I think I was looking for inspiration. I mean, there was kind of twofold. So initially, back in 2019, I heard a success story of somebody who couldn't walk and was like worse off than I was, being bedridden and stuff, and slowly doing exercises and then getting motion and getting back into being able to run.
Yeah.
But then I sort of hit it again because I think the second phase is the drinking. I was cutting that part out, and January or not January, like last fall, I was just, I woke up hungover one day and I'm hurting on my hips, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm not going to be here to see my daughters. I'm 50.
Mm,
I turned 51 in December. I'm like, I'm not going to see her wedding. I'm not going to see. I'm an old dad already, and I'm not going to make it. And
mhm,
the amount of the three or 180, not 360, the 180 since then. I mean, now like I go for a walk and I got bored, so now I've started running again. And I'm like,
wow.
12, 13-minute miles. We're not breaking any records here, but yeah, it's great. And I'm just doing it because I want to and I feel great. And
Yeah.
playing with her. We were on the trampoline. I posted that picture of us doing yoga outside a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Well, after that, the deal was she does yoga with me and I do the trampoline with her. So then we're just on the trampoline jumping around. I know that's probably going to break an ankle, but it's still fun. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, like jumping on trampoline. I mean, I don't get out of breath. I can get in and out of the trampoline, which I tell you 3 years ago that would have been very hard. Everything
Mm,
would hurt trying to even like squeeze under that entry way to the
right.
trampoline. So
Yeah. So when did you start noticing results? Like, do you remember when you first noticed, oh, I'm able to, I don't, and, we don't have to, we could talk about with Manful Yoga within the last few months, or we could go back to when started losing a lot of weight in 2019. But because
yeah,
the hardest part of, you can make that decision, you can have that pain, and you can make the decision to start improving, but when you start to encounter resistance as you implement those habits, that's when you're like,
yeah.
okay, how do I keep going even though it's difficult?
I mean, I hate to say it like it's a weight number, but it really resonated with me at around 300 pounds. Like losing that 50 pounds
Yeah.
and 50 pounds is a lot. I mean, if you pick up 50 pounds of
Yeah.
barbells and walk around a gym, I mean, that's a lot.
Right.
And, but that 50-pound marker, and, I bribed myself. I told myself that if I hit in this middle of COVID at this point, like if I hit 50, I'm buying a new grill. So I got a new grill and
Okay.
I like to grill. So, and that
Yeah.
was my goal. I hit it, and then I didn't want to get it back above it because then I felt like I had to return the grill. but
Yeah. And that would be a pain.
but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was big. But yeah, at 300, I'm still getting soft tissue issues and knee like would hurt, but I could definitely, and it wasn't obviously just the weight because I was exercising, but I could pick up the toys and I felt like almost a normal person.
Hmm.
Um, and I started getting looks at work about, hey Dave, from my boss. Also there was another thing at the around COVID, we got a new I got a new boss who was very health oriented and
Hmm.
encouraging and stuff like that. And so he would see me at work, even like COVID, we were like the only two people in the office, and he'd be like, "Hey, you're looking good," and that was inspiration too. So hearing it from
Yeah.
peers um, was a lot. And then
Yeah.
like going back to the second phase where I was starting to hurt again in the hips, and have, even though I was working out and feeling like I was pretty healthy or healthier around the 280 as far as weight concerned, the drinking part was not, and I still had high cholesterol and stuff like that. But within weeks of doing the beginners, absolute beginners and the beginners fundamentals, within weeks that hip pain or hip stiffness and hip pain went away. I mean, that was pretty remarkable. And
Yeah.
then, um, in the last few weeks, I've gone from 260 to 250, and I'm now running again. And it doesn't, like, if I tried to run for more than like 3 minutes before, it would hurt.
Yeah.
Now it feels good.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, congratulations on all your consistency to get there.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
S- When
yeah, and I,
when do you
I have to say, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have to say, I've just been with Manflow Yoga. I'm trying to, what I feel is missing. I'm missing weights. I'm trying to lift more weights, and
Yeah.
and I know you've got the Austin series. I bought his book. I haven't read it yet, but
Yeah.
like about a couple days ago. But I had a one-on-one with Josh, and he gave me a
Oh,
good
nice.
routine. So I've
Yeah.
started trying to do that. It's just trying to find time for weights because I do travel a lot for work.
Mm.
I travel, especially this time of the year. I'm traveling like every other week, where um, you can do yoga in a hotel room, but it's hard to get the weights. Most of the places have gyms, but
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to fit it in my room. I usually go down and steal a yoga mat, bring it up to my room, and,
Nice.
and then do the workouts there. So I've got one of
Yeah.
those half blocks that's half the size, so I
Okay.
can put that in my bag.
All right.
Not perfect, but
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's challenging even if there is a weight room around. It's difficult to anytime you change the environment, it just makes it, it just makes it more complicated. So even though
yeah,
you might have all the stuff that you need, you get down there and you're like, all right, okay, is this machine? Okay. Are there dumbbells? Cool. Is there a spot where I can use the dumbbells? Like, do they have a bench? And so all that extra variability, even though you have the same stuff, it makes it more difficult. It adds a layer of, it just adds friction to it. So it makes it hard to be
yeah.
consistent when you're traveling.
And they're not like pleasant gyms, like you're at
No.
a Hilton Garden Inn or a Courtyard Marriott or whatever, and they're about the size, they're smaller than your room. They're
Yeah.
got broken treadmills,
Right.
and everything kind of looks a little dirty.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and once in a while we get like a nice resort hotel, and there's like a unbelievable gym, but that's not most of the time. But
Yeah. There's water dumbbells. You've just seen those, or if you've tried those, but you can buy
I
like
have
dumbbells that you fill with water. Um,
that's a good
and
idea.
then you can, use those in the gym. I think the good thing about strength training is, most people do strength training. They aim for 3 times a week, but in reality, you can, if you're just doing it once or twice per week, that's plenty to get some results. So,
I saw
it's
that on your with is his name is Austin? I forgot his last name, but that
yeah,
series you did with him, he
yeah,
was like, just a couple times a week, and just even if it's two sets, just get something,
yeah,
do something.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what would happen for you if you can start strength training consistently. And I mean, the cool thing about where you are right now is you haven't plateaued with what you're doing yet. It sounds like. I mean, you've lost like 10 pounds in the last month or like couple of weeks. You
Yeah,
mentioned.
I've been when I hit 250 a couple weeks ago, so I have been kind of going up and down with that. But there's also been work trips, and with work trips, I just try to maintain. I'm not I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. I don't necessarily fast while I'm traveling.
Uh-huh.
It's just
Yeah,
trying
what are
to.
your do you have any strategies for when you're traveling for work that you've found helpful?
I
It
mean,
could be
one
nutrition
thing that
or
is
exercise.
one thing that I'm doing is calories need to be worth it. So, like, I'm
Yeah,
on a plane and they have those crappy pretzels or the
right.
biscotti cookies that are okay, but not like the best cookies in the world. I don't
Yeah,
get those. I don't get the
right.
pre like I used to always be like, okay, I got to have a Coke or what I just get soda water or if I even have a drink at all. And so calories have to be worth it. Airport food, airplane food is the worst, but airport food is not really worth it. Now, if
Mhm.
I'm like I was telling you earlier, I travel to Austin a lot. And so
Mm.
like, next week I'll be in Austin and we're going to go have some good ramen at a good ramen place or there's a
Please
barbecue place. Go ahead.
yes, I was gonna say please get some barbecue. It's called Styles Switch Barbecue. It's about 10
Okay.
minutes from the domain, which is where you're going. And,
Yeah.
yeah, it is worth it. It's worth the calories. So,
So style switch. Okay, we're staying at
yes.
the Residence Inn in Domain, so
Yeah,
I will find that place. So
yeah.
um, style switch
Mhm.
sound, and I love Texas barbecue. So in
Yeah.
Memphis, not to get into a barbecue because I could talk about that, but we're pork in Memphis, so you don't get good brisket in Memphis. You get
Okay.
good ribs, but not good brisket. So
Yeah, we've got good brisket. I actually, so I do. We started doing more weekend events in Austin, and this is Styles Switch Barbecue has been like that is now my go-to restaurant for the group, um, because it's close to the Manful Yoga Studio. It's close to here, so
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, so if you come here and do a weekend event, we'll probably end up going to Styles Switch Barbecue.
Yeah, at some point, I definitely want to do a weekend event. Um, haven't been able to figure out the time. I was hoping to do the one in LA because I'm going to be out in San Diego around the same time, but I don't think I
Mm,
can make it work. But
okay. Anyways, um,
I have a
talking about travel strategies.
yeah. I mean, travel is hard, but it's just trying not to eat. I was saying like I've got one of those yoga blocks that I bring with me in a belt, and I steal a yoga mat from the gym so I get that done. And even if you only have to do 15 minutes, 15 minutes is better than nothing.
Right.
And and so just trying to figure out the time, and then I also communicate with my coworkers about it. And so now,
Mm,
like my current boss, he's doing an exercise thing. We're kind of on the same uh, wavelength. So if we're traveling together and I they know getting a workout in is important to me, we'll try to and everyone else kind of wants to do it too, whether it's as they're as focused on it right now or not, but just communicating that, and then we'll be like, okay, we're going to do dinner at 6:30 instead of right after work, and let's go get 45 minutes in, and
yeah.
uh, and let's start at 8:30 so we can do a run in the morning or something. We're on our
Mhm.
walk, and a lot of times they're in cool neighborhoods and cool cities, and walking around is
Yeah.
take advantage of. I was in Miami. I think I posted a picture there too. I was in Miami last week and had a nice view of the ocean from my room. I posted that on Facebook or something, and but I got to run along the water, and it was beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like 70 degrees and sunny with waves and a nice breeze
Yeah.
in Miami Beach. So
Yeah.
trying to trying to do that, but yeah, traveling is it's not easy. So I get just to only eat calories that are worth it and try to maintain
Yeah.
and communicate
We've
to your coworkers what you're trying
Yeah,
to
I mean,
do.
you've got so many of these boxes checked here. You have a supportive community around you, right? You have your work environment, which no one ridicules you for saying like, oh, you're gonna go work out, we're gonna go eat pizza, you suck.
Yeah,
They actually participate with you, which is awesome. And you and your boss are the the cool kids who also work out, and so they create, you're creating this environment where you're doing that, and you've got these rules for yourself. um, yeah, you just got a lot of the right boxes checked. I'm actually curious about your partner. Is your wife supportive of your health journey, or how
Yes,
is
I was just about to
okay?
say is I was talking about my work family being supportive. My wife has been, and she's, we both had, so she's lost a lot of weight recently too, and from eating and walking, and we walk together a lot on the weekends, and
Hmm.
and we're both trying to stay healthy for our daughter. So she's very supportive, and I've got to admit, like, I have got very focused around, like, almost addictively trying to get the workouts in, and at
Hmm.
some points that ends up putting more on her.
Hmm.
And so that is something I'm trying to work on too, because it is
Hmm.
putting more on her to, if I'm going to go try to do a workout before bed, then she's putting our daughter
Right.
down, or reading to her, and
Hmm.
trying to do something in the morning. But we're trying to find a balance there, and so that is another thing I got to work on, is making sure I give her the time that she is getting what her needs in as well. And
Yeah.
so that's something that I'm working on, because I will say that in the last few weeks it's been more about me, and I need to make it more about her as well.
Yeah, that's a tough balance. Um, are you guys having open conversations around that?
Yeah, we are, and I've
Yeah.
made a couple little steps. Like, I'm now making get up at 4:30 every morning, but I'm now making my daughter her lunches every morning.
Hmm.
I've found a couple things.
Those the
Um,
lunch making, that is like making lunches, and then like what are we making for dinner is like those are the two most
yeah,
stressful topics in my house.
well, it's true. And who's cleaning up after dinner? So
Okay.
that's the
Yeah.
who's making. We both like to, well, cook, but like during the week, I mean, it's so utilitarian, because we're both, she's working now, and I'm working. We got, some, whether there's basketball practice for a daughter, whatever it is, there's so much going on, and then all of a sudden it's 7:30, and we just finished eating, and
Mm,
Margaret's got to go to bed. I'm trying to get. I've got, my watch is telling me I need so much more sleep than I'm getting, and I'm getting up at 4:30,
yeah.
and now it's 9:30 because I just finished the dishes. So yeah, it's difficult finding the time, but communication is good. And I will say, I don't think I was doing a great job, or we were doing a great job of that. We're doing a much better job of it now.
Mm,
Probably because I was getting a little too selfish in
yeah.
focusing on making sure I get my exercises, that I put a little too much on her.
Yeah. And even if, I don't know, even in my experience, even if she's not saying anything about it, you can both tell, and
Oh yeah.
you're not bringing it up. You're like, I'm glad that I'm working out, but I'm also not going to say thank you, because if I say thank you, then she's going to say like, well, now that you mention it.
Here's something else. But yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah,
that's a
that
hard
she
that's a
is
hard situation.
she has been very supportive though. So that,
Yeah.
and all in all, you know, and we both see it because we both are older.
Hmm.
We got married late, and then it took us a long time to have children. We basically gave up and had, the miracle child, and
Mm.
uh, and just are very, very grateful. But then, now need to make sure that we are, we can hang with younger parents.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, and one thing that you've touched on is you shifted your mindset from I don't know if you ever had if this was ever your mindset, if you had like a have to work out mindset versus I get to, but now it sounds much more like you enjoy exercise, like you look forward to it, you prioritize it, and I'm wondering, do you remember when that shift happened?
yeah, I mean, I've always liked walking,
Uh huh.
because when I was going through, I can't remember if I told you this before the call, or if this was on the. podcast, but I had major anxiety issues, and
Yeah.
walking really helped with that.
Hmm.
I mean, I did see a therapist who I still see today who helps with that. Even though I don't necessarily feel like I have the same issues exactly as I was having then, I don't
Yeah.
want to get there, but I just have
Right.
still go to the therapist, not as much,
Yeah.
but the walking, it's meditative. It's yeah, um, and I think Jesse had that talk on walking a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's very meditative and it's very zen, and so that um, yeah, I've enjoyed that a lot, but I've hated weightlifting,
Hmm.
and so I'm trying to get
Hmm.
into liking that. And the yoga was sort of like somewhere in there, and now one thing I haven't touched on with Manflow Yoga since we're talking, but has been hugely important to me is the community aspect of it.
Mm.
And now you kind of want to, you're looking forward to doing the workout so you can post something or see what the other guys did, those darn leg lifts that you're doing where you have to sit against the wall and lift your leg like an inch. And who knew that
Yeah.
would be hard, but it's impossible.
Right.
But yeah, you just want to talk with the other people in the community about that. And so that I have to say that makes it more fun.
Yeah.
And then when you like I did a side plank um, for 30 seconds the other day where a month and a half ago I could only do it with the knees on top of each other. So
Yeah.
you're just trying to or the knees on the ground and just lifting the butt,
Yeah.
but now like, I got 30 seconds on both sides, so you get these non-scale victories that are just fantastic. and
Yeah.
um, and then you can go brag about them on Facebook
Right.
with my
Yeah.
new friends that I'm starting to have, that new
Yeah.
virtual friends.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's
Um,
good.
well, I'm glad the community's been helpful for you. Um, so I want to shift over to my four questions I like asking everybody. Actually,
Okay.
no, before that, what's the next thing you want to work on in your fitness?
Well, I touched on it earlier. I want to get more weightlifting
Hmm.
in because I'm feeling like I need more building muscle.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, I don't know. I mean, it's really I'm feeling so good right now compared to where I was a month and a half ago. I don't want it to stop
Yeah.
because I feel like I've hit. I'm just in a good place, and I don't feel like the last few years I have not. Even though I had lost some weight,
Yeah.
didn't feel like I was in a good place, and now it's great. And so yeah, I just kind of want to keep on get some weightlifting in, build some muscle, and then enjoy where I am right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Okay. Cool.
I would like it to get down to 225, but
225. I mean,
uh,
you're on the track. You're heading there, you know.
I think
Um
so. I think so.
and it's not just that you stopped. It's not just the calories from the drinking, it's also probably your sleep has gotten that much better now
Yeah,
that all the other things are getting better too. So I think that's something
yeah.
else to consider.
The sleep and feeling better in the morning, and then the other thing is I never would have thought about doing workouts at night, but now like doing like I can walk in the morning and do my whole day, and then do yoga right before I go to bed.
Hmm.
And if I have enough time, we have an infrared sauna that we got,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, and so I recommend those. They're not cheap, but
Yeah.
my wife has some autoimmune issues and inflammatory issues, so we got that for her. But I'll be honest, I use it. I use it
Right.
a lot more than she does. But but yeah, so doing a 20-minute yoga and a 30-minute sauna before bed, you sleep like a baby. Where before I'd be having a couple bourbons and I'd go to sleep, but then you wake up at 2 or wake up feeling
Yeah.
crappy. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
have one drink and I'm so sensitive to it now just because it's been a long time since I was binge drinking in Wisconsin. So, it's yeah, come a long way. Anyways,
And my wife
um,
was really surprised. We went to a fundraiser the other day, and I had a couple drinks, probably 3 or 4, and
Mhm.
I got really tipsy. And she
Yeah.
had never. It's like, I don't think I've ever seen you tipsy. I had such a tolerance. It's like, so I'm actually proud of
Yeah.
you that you're drunk, because it was a sign that I haven't been drinking. So
Yeah, there comes a time when your partner actually is like glad that you're a little tipsy because you're like you never drink and you never like relax. So I'm glad
yeah,
that you're actually letting yourself go for a little bit. It's a weird transition, but I
yes,
get it.
definitely.
All right, so 4 questions.
All
What's the
right.
one habit, belief, or mindset that has helped you the most with your overall health and wellness?
Um, not You got to figure out what works for you,
Mm,
and don't listen to the haters. So,
okay.
um, people don't believe in keto or don't believe in intermittent fasting or whatever it is, or I was saying, I've used Zepbound, and people, if it's working for you and you're losing weight and you're getting healthier, different thing, and maybe it is just calories in, calories out with intermittent fasting, and it's not all these different things, but it works for me. So that is what I do. It allows me to I don't eat until during the week, most days, 6 or 7 at night, and then I can
Hmm.
eat whatever I want. But yeah, you just gotta. Not everything's gonna work for everyone, but don't listen to the haters and do what works for you.
Yeah. All right. What's one thing that you do for your health that is often overlooked or undervalued by others?
Probably that sauna. um,
Yeah.
there is, the walking in the sauna are so, because a lot of my issues stemmed from the anxiety that I was having, and those
Mm,
things, and you learn how to, and that breathing in, which goes with the walking, but the breathing, sauna, figuring out how you can relax, um, and so I found my ways of doing that, and that is the sauna and walking, and then I'm trying to do more breathing. So I do the
yeah.
box breathing stuff, 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4. So when I start getting really stressed at work, or I start, having an anxiety moment, I'll try the box breathing first, and then try to get on a walk.
Yeah. That's great. What's the most stressful part of your day to day life?
You know, Having a 7.5-year-old daughter, there are just fears. I'm sure everyone who has kids, from the day they're born or the day they're conceived, probably till the day I die, that will be my fear. And so just having irrational fears of, um, something going, with my daughter,
Yeah.
that's probably the most stressful. I mean, there's a lot of work stress as well, but I'm trying to keep the mindset that, and I didn't have that in the past, that work will come and go, but you know, so yeah, just making sure my daughter's okay, and that nothing bad happens to her.
Yeah. What's your best piece of advice for men who want to be healthier?
Honestly, out of all the stuff we talked about, one of the greatest parts of Manflow Yoga has been that community aspect, and I'm
Mm,
trying to now find that at home with people here that I can hang with, and not just going out to have beers or whatever.
yeah.
But I think community and finding your community is it.
Hmm. All right. That's a great one. Cool. All right. Well, David, I want to say thank you for coming on. I'm really grateful for you sharing your story, but also for being part of our community and contributing there. So thank you for all of that.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Thanks for putting it together. It's been
Yeah,
awesome.
my pleasure. All right. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with David. I hope it inspires you to be a better man. I will see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview. Thank you so much for listening. If you are already part of the Manful Yoga community, I want to say thank you so much for being here and trusting us with your health, with your wellness. If you're not already and you'd like to join, go to manfulyoga.com/join to learn more and get started with a free 7-day trial. Um, I want to thank David for being on the podcast. And also, if you're interested in sharing your own health and wellness journey, please reach out to me, help@manfulyoga.com. We are doing more of those interviews now. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, I also want to encourage you to leave a review. You can do that on wherever you're listening to the podcast, on Apple, on Spotify. You can also watch video versions of this podcast on YouTube, on the Better Man Podcast YouTube channel, or in the Manful Yoga app and members area. I forgot what else I have to say, but thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and I hope this inspires you to be a better man. If you want to do a free 7-day challenge, go to manfulyoga.com/7DC, and you can learn how yoga, fitness centric, created specifically for men, can help you with your day-to-day fitness and your longevity goals. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.